Welcome everyone to the IELTS Civics Network meeting for California. It is April 27th, 2022, and we're glad to have you here. Let me show you the agenda for today, and I'm assuming you can all see my screen. Let me know if you cannot. The agenda, we're going to do a brief CD update. We have a little bit of information for you regarding our general information, civic participation, and IELCE. Tiny bit about the IELTS Civics Exchange. Portia LaFerla will update you on citizenship preparation. And then we are lucky today to have with us Ryan Burke, Dana Orozco, and Anel Martinez from Sweetwater Adult and Continuing Education, who are going to tell you about their IELCE IET medical pathway and perhaps some other things, because I've heard some other incredible things that they are doing, but we're going to start with that. So let's go over our CDE update. Again, you all know this, but since the deadline's coming up in just a few days, I just want to remind you that your continuous improvement plan and the IELCE report are both due April 30th, 2022. So I hope you've been working on those and that you'll be able to submit those by the deadline. Also, just reminding you again, and I know this came up at the April CDE statewide meeting, just that they're wanting to let you know that the WIOA Title II RFA will be coming out this year. The tentative availability, again, the Word document posted August 1st, and that is the demonstrated effectiveness portion will be due available beginning September and due the middle of September. And then the electronic portals expected to open November of 22, and then it'll be due mid-December. I know they're very interested that you have a lovely winter holiday and not spend it working on these. And they also talked about the, I think they're fairly sure that the term will be 4 years, an extension through 23 through 27. And I know you've heard about that before, so I just wanted to review. One thing you might not have heard about before, but hopefully you remember from past years, this deadline got dropped off the WIOA submission deadline document. Somehow no one noticed it until just this week. So I just want to reiterate, as always, as every year for the last 15 at least years, April 30th has been the due date for the last day to add, edit, or delete COAAPs. That doesn't mean you can't use COAAPs past that. Remember that our program year goes from July 1 of 21 to June 30th of 22. This is just a selection. So anything you select by this deadline, you can use through June 30th of this year. And then the system will open up again new on July 1. We'll talk about that in a moment. So we just like you to check. The major thing that happens with this is that one of your teachers or someone in your agency has taught a COAAP and then they didn't communicate that they were teaching it, and it didn't get downloaded into or submitted into the system and then downloaded into TE. So those are two steps, to submit and then download. That all should happen by this deadline, April 30th. Otherwise, you won't be able to earn payment points for those, for the students who pass them. So be sure to do that. After this meeting, I would appreciate if you all go in and check the little link on the, I think it's the fourth item down at the top of the IELTS Civics webpage. Let me go there now. And you can check what your agency has submitted. Okay, so you should be seeing the CASA's homepage. And as always, we're going to scroll down. On the left-hand side, we go to California IELTS Civics. And again, I hope you're seeing this. Let me know if you're not. And I'll answer your question in a minute, Carrie. Okay, we're going to civic participation in IELCE. And then this item here, your agency's civic objectives. Now, I can't get in. I'll show you what happened. When I get in, it says you can't get in because I'm not an agency. But when you go in as the designated selector of COAAPs, maybe even someone else at your agency, I don't know, but for sure that person, whoever's designated to select, will get in, and then you'll be able to see what you've already selected. Please make sure there's a one-to-one correspondence between what your teachers are teaching and assessing and what's on the list, and that then they have been downloaded into TE. when you get there, it says download COAAPs. So you can also get directions how to download the COAAPs if you don't know how. So that's all there for you. Please check that before the end of the week. All right. Now to our questions. What would be a reason to delete a COAAP? So you are limited to 10 COAAPs selected per program year, unless you've asked for permission. So permission is easily granted, but if you happen to have 11 there now or more, and you haven't asked for permission, it would be easy to delete any one that you're not using. So if you have some there that you're not using and you only have 10, you don't have to delete anything. But if you're edging up to more than 10 and you're not using some of them, delete them so that you only have 10. That would be the best thing to do. Or if you need all of the ones that are there and it's more than 10, then be sure to ask for permission of your CDE consultant, not me or your program specialist, but of your CDE consultant. And if you would CC me, because I'm the person who keeps track of that. I have a list of all the ones who've been approved. You don't have to ask every year. So if your agency is approved, and I would say that you probably already are approved because I look at every submission and count the number, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I have a long list of those who are approved for more than 10. So in general, that won't apply to you. But just to tell you that you need to just make sure you have 10 there. That's one reason to delete. Oh, also make sure that all of your IELCE, IET programs have the COAAP selected. Also, you won't earn 243 payment points or 231 payment points if they don't show up on this list.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I noticed that on our agency website, I have the COAAPs from last year and this year. So they basically accumulate until there's 10, and then I can go ahead and delete the ones from last year if I'm not using them this year. We're not teaching them this year.
No, so every year on July 1, you have to select new ones. So everything is selected from July 1, 21 to June 30th. So everything there is what you have selected for this year. It's not last year, it's this year. And if you have 10 or fewer, you don't have to do anything. And if you have 10, more than 10, and your agency has asked for permission previously, you don't have to do anything. There would be no reason to do anything except if right now you're going to add something that makes it more than 10, and then we need to delete something. So you don't have to do anything. This question, we just put that there, the last day to add, edit, or delete. Basically, that means the last day to access the system in any way for any purpose is April 30th. So now let's talk about next year, 22-23. Well, let's start with this one. So from April 30th to June 30th, just to say, I just mentioned already, your COAAPs are in force until June 30th this year. During this period, after we close the system on April 30th and June 30th, we review the COAAPs from this year and we see if anything needs to be changed. We have no intention of making many changes this year, maybe a spelling thing there or something, or if any of you report that there's been something wrong with these and we need to update them in some way. So this is our period of review, just so you know that this is a dynamic and growing system. So we are always looking at it and making sure it's up to date and the right thing, okay? After this period or during this period, then we make the COAAPs available to view. So as soon as we've reviewed it, we make it what we call live, and then you can see it. And that might inform what you're going to choose for the next program year. On July 1, all of the current for then 22, 23 COAAPs would be new and live, and then it's open for you to select for July 1, 22 through June 30th of 23. And when you do that, just also know that everything on the website on July 1 has been reviewed and updated. And I also want to just go ahead and show you the revision document, because as we make any revisions, so there's this document and it was updated in February. It's a Word document, as are all the ones here in this little box. going to download it. And you can see, again, this is for this year. So every year we update this document periodically. It's always new on July 1. And then throughout the year, if there are any changes made during the year, it's in green. So let's see what happened this year. So you can see nothing happened for COAAP 1, blah, blah, blah. A few things happened. We added some language here. So this tells you just what kind of language was added. And the things we're adding these days have to do with immigrant integration. If we realize that some language that would assist you in serving our immigrant population, we might add something, as was done here. If it's in bold, like this is, then you must change it. This thing you don't have to worry about telling your agencies at this point. Next year, it will be, this language will be there. But anything in bold, which this is, needs to be changed. And I would have notified your agency if you were doing 13.5 or 13.6 and we made a rating scale change like we did sometime this year, I would have emailed your agency to make sure. But you'll notice it's in green because that was done after July 1. So this is a document, again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I want you to say we added 14.8. You can see all the changes that have been made this year. As of July 1, everything here will be in black, and then we'll start again with any kind of green language. And we'll remove anything that happened last year that is not of importance. We'll probably keep this rating scale just because since that has to be changed, we want you to know about it. So now we're back to our slides. I have been working with two wonderful people, Veronica Parker from COAAP and Sudie Whalen from CalPro, our leadership projects in California. And we have been working on social justice resources. I know you may remember that in September, we rolled out 53.2, I think it is, about social justice, and we gave you a lot of information about it. At that time, we realized that a resource sheet would be really useful. So we've been collaborating and to make this resource list available to you. And it's in the final stages. We're just getting it approved now. And it will be available by July 1, maybe before then. But it would be especially important for you if you're teaching Civic Objectives 11 and 53, the Culture Objective 11 or 53, to make sure you've informed yourself about how to work with these social justice issues. And then in any Yale Civics course, these kinds of issues come up, and so it would behoove you to look at this resource list. I will be informing you when it comes out, and we're hoping to do a presentation on it at the Casa Summer Institute. When it's out too, we might have Veronica and Sudie come and talk about it a little bit as well at one of our Yale Civics Network meetings, but we'll definitely be, as soon as it's ready, be sharing it with you in a number of ways. Okay, I mentioned this last month, but just want to remind you that this is usually the time of year that agencies do the school community needs assessment. It is a requirement. You don't have to do it now, but you have to do it sometime each program year. So if you haven't done it yet, be sure to do it this year. These are all links to information about it. And then the needs assessment summary form, which must be completed and kept on file at your agency. So I just want to remind you about the Yale Civics Exchange again. A joint project of CASAS and OTAN. We've been leadership projects that have been working together very well all year, which is very exciting. July 1, the exchange came out. And again, you can access it by going to elcivics.otan.us, and you can submit materials elcivics.otan.us. I want to show you that these are the COAAPs that are available now. And it's very interesting that 121 agencies have selected these COAAPs. So we are excited that this many agencies would have these instructional resources. And also to tell you that we've had 264 downloads of materials just in the last month, March 21 to April 25th. So we are so excited that you are using this resource. And we hope to be focusing on the quote unquote 10 most used or the most used COAAPs over this next year. I'll be giving you a list of those, and we would love it if you would submit materials to the Yale Civics Exchange so that more agencies could have access to your wonderful materials. And thank you to those of you who have submitted materials. Okay, the accessibility guide is finally with us. We're so excited. Penny Pearson and David Espinosa at OTAN developed this accessibility guide. As you can remember, they worked early in this year in the summer and through the fall to give you information about accessibility. And then we thought it would be so great to culminate those presentations by putting out a resource guide that if you can read as you're developing any new materials or as you're looking at your materials and wanting to update them. Remember that all the materials that we submit to the Civics Exchange need to be accessible, and your materials that you're developing for your students should be accessible also, so that your students and your teachers can access them appropriately. This new resource is available on the IELTS Civics Exchange under resources, elcivics.otan.us. And I'm giving you this link also, which is slightly more direct to this guide. And thank you, Portia, for putting it in the chat. Okay, now we're to citizenship preparation, and Portia LaFerla would like to tell you about this information.
Hi, everybody. So information has not changed. CIT certification training is required to offer the CIT test, and everybody has to certify individually. They cannot train, you can't train anybody else. You have to go in and do it individually. It's open from July 1st to April 30th, so it is very close to closing. This is the link for ordering it on the IELTS Civics Citizenship YouTube channel. There is a very short video telling you how to sign up and process, how to input the information so that you're not billed. But please know that COSAS knows who you are. If you make a mistake, send us an email, you won't be charged. And both certification and recertification close on the 30th. So there is not very much time left if you need to complete one of those trainings.
And Portia, do you want to talk about completing before the deadline, about things rolling or not rolling over after this date? If they don't complete by April 30th, but they've started, is there?
Yes, you really need to finish it by April 30th, except for if you're certifying, there's a last part where you have to submit interviews. You have to interview a student at the beginning high to intermediate high level, and you have to submit those recordings. You have a little bit of extra time to do that, but you have to have completed the module itself by April 30th. So again, you need to get in. It takes a little bit of time. One of the things that I'm noticing is that a lot of people that are going through the training are neglecting to use the scoring guidelines and anchors when they're scoring, and you should always use those. I'm sure Lori uses them. I've used them for 30 years and never score without them. So make sure that you do that. You'll get through the training faster, you'll score more accurately, and we won't have to tutor you for over an hour and have you do that work again. So I'm trying to save you time. Make sure you use those documents. And same information, this is for the recertification. It takes about 2 hours. Certification can take 3 to 4. And if you have any questions, please email sit@cosas.org and we'll get right back to you.
And Portia, if they don't complete their training, their recertification, what happens?
Next year, they're going to have to certify again instead of doing recertification. So it's very good to keep the certification active. And if you need help with citizenship, there are lots of videos on that YouTube channel, including how to set up your classes so that you can get WIOA funding for your citizenship classes.
I know certification is due April 30th, but the recordings, what is the end date for that?
Very soon after that, because those have to be reviewed and processed. It takes a little bit of time. So as soon as possible after that. And please, no advanced students. If you interview an advanced student, then we can't really evaluate properly. And so you'll have to find another student and do it again. So it has to be beginning high to intermediate high, no advanced students. And you can do it remotely. It doesn't have to be done face-to-face.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Portia. This slide was on the statewide slide, so I thought I would add it here. Don't forget, we have the CASA Summer Institute coming up. It is both, it is in person and hybrid, so you can register either to be there in person or remotely. So we'd love to have you there. Portia will be doing citizenship preparation, information training. I'll be doing EL Civics Basics, both the requirements and the understanding COAAPs. So, and we have a lot of other wonderful presentations related to EL Civics. There'll be 2 presentations with agencies who are going to talk about their IELCE, IET programs. So we encourage you to attend, and a million other things, but that's just, those are the things that relate to EL Civics. Oh, and the EL Civics Exchange will be presented there as well, we hope, as the Social Justice Resource Guide. So that will, if we can gain a slot, which I think we can, we will be introducing the Social Justice Resource Guide at the CASA Summer Institute.
And I think there are a couple of accessibility workshops planned as well.
Oh, that's right. Thank you so much. Penny will be there talking about accessibility. So everything we talk about here at the EL Civics Network meetings, all the basic information will be happening at the CASA Summer Institute. And I just want to let you know that our next EL Civics meeting is May 25th. And so I'll see you there. And then I'm thinking about these 2 dates, June 29th and August 24th, for our meetings after that, sort of skipping July. So I haven't finalized these dates, and they're not ready for you to enroll in yet, but I was just wanting to throw them out there. We are ready for our presentation, and thank you for being here, and we can't wait to hear your information. Who would like to start? Ryan?
I'll start off, and we'll do that while Dana's getting ready. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure for us to be here. It's an honor to be able to come and talk to everyone about our program. We're extremely proud of the work that we're doing. If we can be of help in any way to y'all, and in either guidance, resources, or even just a brainstorming partner, we've got a lot of thinkers on our team that like to work with people and work with others to find the best solutions. IET is something that we've started right away. As soon as the first pilot program came out from the state level, we jumped on it because it was just right in line with our needs as a community. Sweetwater is on the border. We're located right south of San Diego. So when you get down to Chula Vista and then a few more exits of San Diego and San Ysidro, that's us. That's our population. So it made a lot of sense for us to support career development with language support. And it was something that was, I have a K-12 background, and those types of supports are things we've done in the K-12 system. And when this opportunity came up, we were already thinking that way and thinking about trying to provide something. So we jumped right on it. So we're a little bit more mature in that respect. We've experienced some bumps, we've solved some problems. So if you're just starting, we definitely have experienced people on this call and in our division that can walk you through getting started. Or if you're really started and you're looking to expand, we've done those steps as well. So we'd be happy to, again, partner with you. I'd like to introduce, again, I'm Ryan Burke, I'm the director of the division, and we have 2 colleagues here today, Dana Orozco. Dana is our resource teacher who is most responsible. Our resource teachers are assigned to a school, but they have areas of expertise and depth, and Dana would certainly be one who is in the ESL realm, very strong, of course. And Dana, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Thank you. We're excited to share with what we're doing here. Can you all see my screen? Did I share correctly? Okay.
And I apologize for being so dark. A light bulb went out just before this meeting started. So timing, it's always timing. Anel Martinez is another resource teacher extraordinaire who is assigned to San Ysidro Adult School, our most impacted community. And her focus is more in the area of CTE. So the partnership between our 2 resource teachers was a key piece in developing this program further along the way. Anel, you want to say hi?
Good afternoon, everyone. A pleasure to be here with you.
All right, and so with that, if you have any questions, don't hold back. Please reach out to us.
Okay, I'll begin. So I'm going to lead you on how we got started. we had our first IET course that started with child development in 2017, 2018. Here's a glimpse with a picture. These are students that were doing infant massage in child development courses. And then we continued on to expand a bit. We continued with welding, where we wrote our first COAAP, and then expanding to medical terminology and administrative professional. In 2020, 2021, we expanded all IET support to all of our CTE courses across 4 different sites. Here is a flyer that was targeting students that would have interest in IET, in ESL courses or in our CT courses. And so see, these are some of the courses that we have at our adult schools at our 4 different sites.
So how did we expand our program? What are the steps that we took to really expand it from our beginning in 2017, 2018 to providing IET support to all of our CTE classes? So we wanted to gauge the need. We heard from our CTE instructors that there were language needs in their classes. And so we really wanted to get that data and help that drive our decisions moving forward. And so Annelle and I went to all of the CTE classes in all of the 4 sites, and we presented IET to the students, and we told them what it was. We told them that it was a program that was interested in helping them, support them with reaching their goals and passing their certification. And so we created a student interest list. And with that, we were able to determine that, yes, there really is this great need in our CTE classes to provide this type of support. And so we moved forward with hiring 4 language teachers in all 4 of our sites. So they are housed at each of our sites, and they're available to provide language support to our CTE students. And we surveyed these students. So our language teachers conducted a survey to all the CTE students. And of those 323 respondents, 52% of them self-identified as having a language deficiency. And so that was data that we needed to know we were moving in the right direction. We're seeing that the need is there. They're self-identifying that they need the support. And so we really wanted to meet the need. So we see here that there's a need. We were there to meet that need. And so one of the key things that we have learned along the way as we're expanding is we really need to raise an awareness of what IET is. And so we created these 2 images to help explain and really break down what this program is and explain to everyone in our program. So our front office staff, our counselors, our teachers, and most importantly, our students. And so the image on the left with the umbrella came about when we were talking about IET support with our language teachers and the CTE teachers. So when we were referring to IET, we wanted these language teachers and CTE teachers to know that they were a part of that. They were under this umbrella because we now expanded IET support to all CTE classes. So they're involved in this IET program. And then the bottom part, of course, is the workforce preparation component. So that was really a helpful image to just raise that awareness and really help explain what this program is. And then the image on the right is, I think we adapted this from the CalPro IET implementation clinic in 2019, 2020. And Annelle and I and a team, we participated in that clinic, and we're currently doing it again and learning great new things that we want to implement further to strengthen the program. But really how all 3 of these components, the literacy activities, the workforce training, and the workforce preparation, how they all overlap to encompass what is IET. We further, in one of our training sessions, our workshops, we broke apart each of these bubbles and we broke down what is the reading activity in the workforce training curriculum? What is the workforce preparation that we're seeing? So these were really helpful for us to explain what the program is and really how it provides support for our students from the front office staff all the way down to the student. Dr. Burke?
So one of the things we're doing to continue growing the program is internal and external marketing. So you have to, there's got to be an effort to make sure there's awareness. And as Dana talked about, sharing all those visuals, internally with our office staff, but then taking that into classrooms and making sure students are being presented to know all the different programs that we have available on campus to all of our campuses for our students. So, you know, we have different CTE programs at different campuses. So somebody might be really interested in the medical program, but they are taking ESL at Montgomery, which doesn't have a medical program for us. So we want to make sure that we're getting in there with our, you know, presentations and making sure students know all the possibilities available to them, and that they are supported with language support, just like on their own campus. So we also are doing things like pushing it out through social media with daily student highlights and opportunities to, you know, show all the good things happening in the community. And whenever IET is a part of that, involved in that, we you know, want to highlight it. The other thing we do is prioritize enrollment. We want to roll over our student enrollment so that our students in the ESL classes are the first to choose access to the CTE courses available. Not that, you know, they're all filling up immediately as soon as registration opens or anything, but there are in-demand offerings that we have, and we just want to make sure that there's enough access for our students that we're promoting the CTE and IET programs structurally that way, making sure that we're creating access for students.
Some of the key components that we've identified in our IET program is data has really been a key focus for us, and just using what you have. So we've used data to drive our decisions moving forward. We've created Google surveys. We shared the results with one Google survey that we conducted with our CTE students, identifying that language need. We use CASA's data to determine the average ESL level of our CTE students, if any, and then gauging that need for IET. So it's a measurement for us to be able to determine the need. And we've also used internally our student information system of Infinite Campus to discover that some students are co-enrolled, especially in the medical pathways. And so how can we leverage our language teacher and our resources to provide that support when they're enrolled in different classes, in more than one class. As we shared, we found that it's really important to promote the IET program. It is fairly new, so it's really important that we raise that awareness and we go over what it is, what it's not, and educate all staff, everyone that could come in contact with it. We touched on those presentations for our current students and community presentations. So those are really, really important components of our program. Collaboration is also one of the keys that we have identified moving forward and expanding our program. With the CTE instructors and IET instructors, we do allow for weekly planning time for these two teachers to get together and identify, the learning intentions for the upcoming week, the success criteria, the common formative assessments, what's going to be the focus for this week, what are the language needs. That has been crucial for our teachers to have that time. And so we've really invested in that and provided that to them. And not only that one-on-one kind of collaboration time for the teachers, but we also have weekly program collaboration. We meet as a division. We have initiatives that we focus on as a division, but then we also do breakout pathway groups or program groups where we're able to focus on things like promoting the IET program during these Wednesday collaboration time. And so collaboration is key. And it's one of the things that we wouldn't be where we are without that.
So now we're going to go to some more IET successes. So for the first time now, we have a cohort in place for medical support groups. And this is where we're taking students that perhaps are not mastering competencies or needing some more language and literacy support, such as IET. So here we take these students that want to pass their certifications, but they still have some competencies that they have to work on. So IET support has allowed us to advance students with precision exams. Students do pre-test, and then they also do post-test as many times as needed till they reach an 80%. We use that data from precision exams to target IET support, especially with the need of medical terminology. When students go out and test out for state certifications, such as in medical clinical administrative or medical clinical assistant, 45% of the content that they need to master will be in medical terminology. So that's a huge chunk for the state certification that students really have to have a knowledge and be well prepared to be able to pass that state certification. Currently, we have a cohort of 12 students taking state certifications, with 2 of them already passing the state certifications as of last week, and 11 with pending dates for their state certification. So we're trying to catch students, following them with certifications and making sure that they can pass those certifications before they leave our program. We also have externships. Out of our medical administrative assistant students at that cohort, we have 6 students that have been receiving IET support that are enrolled in externships, with 2 completing also their externships, and now are able, well, the San Ysidro Health Clinic has asked for them to apply for employment and just doing the application process. And because they've done their externship, they're going to override the interview process. So it's been a great collaboration to be able to bridge into an organization that is willing to give us those externships and also employment opportunities for our students. And we're seeing that the majority of the students that are going into externships are IET students that have received IET support.
So with this program and with all others, we're big believers in Sweetwater Adult in eliminating every barrier possible. And that involves creating wraparound services. There's our warning for our CBC meeting, Dana. I will be going. The wraparound services are key to not just the IET success, but for all students. And we don't, so this part of the program is not specific to IET. It's for any students that we can access. Although we do have a specific partnership with Goodwill, I'll talk about it a little bit. But we have a Disabilities and Access Resource Center. This is a staff of 5. This is new to Sweetwater Adult as well. They've been with us now going on 2 years, and we're combining workability with, which is a program to help people get and sustain jobs. And that's with the Department of Rehabilitation. That's our partner in that. And then we also have teachers on staff who provide instructional classes on different, on job readiness and things like that, but with special education credentials. And they are also there to assist students in all program areas: adult basic education, ESL, CTE, citizenship, whatever's needed. It's a referral service for our teachers to be able to get some supports for students who have disabilities, identified disabilities. And again, I think this is one of the biggest, most important things that we're doing in the South Bay. So if you're interested in learning more about our services for adults with disabilities, yeah, anytime, please call us on that. With Goodwill, we have a partnership there where they're working on job readiness skills and job acquisition traits. So they're coming in and doing, I think it's 10 hours of training. Is that right, Anil? With our medical program to bring them along on that side of the, IET involves language training, skills training, and the job acquisition skills. So it's all 3 pieces. So we're working towards building it internal to our own program across all IET and CTE courses. But that partnership with Goodwill is great to have, because it's an expert in that area that can come and visit us and provide those supports. We have other wraparound services available. As you can say, we have intervention classes, additional college transition counselors, and so forth. One thing I will mention too that isn't on this slide is our ESL Pathways program. When our students are enrolling for ESL, they tell us why are they coming. It's not just, oh, I want to learn English. We say, okay, well, why do you want to learn English? Why is this important for you? What's going on in your life? Why do you want to learn it? And we ask them to choose a pathway. So we have 3 different sets of courses depending on why they want to come and learn English. For some, they're interested in more community reasons, and they're interested in things like talking with a teacher, navigating civics, a lot of the things that happen in civics, working out street signs, all those types of things. Then we have another large group, a large group that is a workplace group. And their goal is to find a job or to gain a better job or to get an advance. So those folks are choosing ESL for the workplace, where we contextualize all the lessons for the workplace. And that's the one that we are really thinking is the IET pathway that a lot of the students, but we don't exclude anyone else. If anyone in any other ESL pathway, our last one is the academics. That's for people trying to get their GED, their HiSET, their diploma, or go on to college. That pathway is, if anyone chooses that they want to be a part of IET from any pathway, we welcome them with open arms and bend over backwards to make it happen. So again, Sweetwater, the land of no barriers. We want to do everything we can to help our students. I feel like I'm in a witness protection program with this lighting, so I do apologize. I feel like I need to garble my voice.
Thank you, Dr. Burke.
So last week we had an industry advisory for CTE. There's 12 elements of a high quality program in CTE where we try to implement and model those elements. What I want to show you here is we had a teacher and student interview. We're going to go through the teacher interview. We have Susan Buchelman, our adult education CTE medical administrative instructor, Martha Reyes, who is our IET instructor at San Isidro, Elsa Adame, a student and medical administrative, Julieta Santana, also a student medical administrative, and then Dana, our ESL resource teacher. So you're going to see a bit of an interview on how teachers are talking about the impact of IET with the medical students at San Isidro Adult School. We're going to look now at high quality and instruction when it comes to the 11 elements of a high quality model for CTE programs. I have the pleasure to introduce Susan Buchelman, our medical administrative assistant instructor, Martha Reyes, our IET instructor. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the impact that IET has had on medical courses that you teach.
I teach medical terminology, admin, and billing and coding. The impact that IET has had for me is that a lot of my students are really challenged now, and being in our area where we live as well. Without IET, without Martha helping and being in our rooms and teaching us how to teach the students who are challenged, it just would not be a successful situation for the students. They wouldn't be able to probably finish the course.
Thank you. Martha, tell us a little bit about yourself and what is the impact that IET has had on medical courses?
So hi everybody, my name is Martha Reyes. I've been working here for Sweetwater for 17 years now. I've worked both in the high school setting and the adult school. I have been able to teach all ESL levels across 2 different adult schools. And for the last 2 years, I've had the opportunity to teach IET, where I do provide literacy support for CTE classes. And I get to co-teach with the teachers. So 2 teachers in 1 classroom, and I also get to alternate teach. So some students come to my classroom.
Thank you. Susan and Martha, what challenges have you faced in teaching IET?
Oh, many challenges, and I'm sure for Martha as well. The students are very challenged now that since we no longer do tape testing, our students can come in at any level. So without Martha's help in the classroom, it just wouldn't be successful for them. And that is it'd be a big challenge for the students as well. They would probably just drop.
I'm gonna piggyback there. So what we have encountered those challenges, but I've been having trouble encouraging students to practice their English in class and outside of class. So it's a constant repetition of use your English, guys. The more you practice your English, the more you're going to improve. And another challenge that I've encountered is some students who really need the help are not willing to accept they need the help. So that is one of the challenges that I'm confronted at this time.
Thank you. What successes have you had with students in IET?
For me, students are enjoying the class and they are staying in the class versus not having an IET instructor. Like I said, they wouldn't be successful. They would be dropping. So now the students are actually staying in the class because they're getting a grasp on the material.
And to add to that, some students have improved their English skills. They've also understood the content enough to be able to apply it in the work field. And several of them have obtained a job in the United States for the first time when they never thought it was going to be possible due to their language barriers. And we recently, working as a team, were able to support a student whose first language is Spanish to pass her state certification in both medical and clinical classes, which is good for the next 5 years.
And our last question, how do you foresee the future of IET and medical courses?
I foresee the IET expanding because there is a need for our students to receive language literacy support at this time. And I foresee that being the case for upcoming years. And it's working, it's helping the students get and be able to meet the goal that they desire.
You know, they're getting jobs, they're going into externships, and it wouldn't happen without the IET support.
So powerful to hear those testimonials.
Hey, I know this is my slide, but I want to.
We're going to look now at.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I just wanted to piggyback on that and clarify for folks that we previously had a TABE score requirement. You had to score a certain level on TABE to get into the different programs. So, and it would be higher depending on which CTE class it was. So if you're not familiar with the TABE tests, it's a competency test, it's an entry level test. And certain benchmark scores, cut scores were required. Those have been eliminated. We do still, if a student comes in with very, very limited language, we encourage them to get into the ESL workplace line. First, we would never say, no, you can't be a part of the CTE class that you want to be a part of. Again, no barriers. And so that when you take away that prerequisite, you better have some support in place, and that IET plays a big role there.
So we were able to hear from the instructors how IET support is working in the classroom with the students. Now we have a testimony of 2 students, how IET has supported them through the medical courses.
Good morning, my name is Elsa Adame. I'm a student for San Isidro School. I complete right now 3 courses, Medical Assistant Administration, Health Essentials, and Medical Terminology. And now I'm studying the Medical Assistant Clinical course, and I finished my externship with the possibility of get a job.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Julieta Santana. I'm a student at San Isidro School. I took the career of Administrative Medical Assistant, and now I'm doing my internship in San Isidro Medical Plaza to have experience and get a better job. In the mornings, I have clinical assistant classes and English classes. In the afternoon, Miss Reyes, Miss B, Miss Scholl, Miss Anel are always with us in whatever we need, whether it's school issues or personal issues. We know that we can come with them. Thanks for all this support, we can continue to prepare ourselves for a better future. Everything that we learn is helpful for trust in ourselves.
How this IET program has helped you in your medical courses?
This program helped me a lot. I learned every day for each of my teachers. It was a great challenge for me to be able to learn a new career in another language, but every day it becomes easier and easier. Thank you for the support of the program. And now I finished my externship in the health and medical administration in San Isidro Health Center and in the behavioral health. And it was a very great learning and personal challenge I achieved. Thank you for the teachers for their patience and dedication.
I want to say thanks for Miss V, Miss Reyes, Michelle, Miss Anel, because when we started the classes last year,
Yes.
we were very nervous for English, and many of us, we thought that we can't complete the career. But now at this time, my feelings are different, and now I can say that I can complete the career and get a better job in English, of course.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Elsa Adame.
There we go. So,
Just
you know,
before you go on, Dana, if I could say goodbye to everybody. See you at CCAE's Southern Section event coming up in Hollywood. Hopefully a bunch of you are there. If you are, we'll be there. Don't hesitate to come say hi and brainstorm with us. We love that. So anytime, folks, just give us a call, give us a shout. Take care and best wishes to you.
Thank you for joining us, Ryan. We'll continue with your team, your great team.
Absolutely.
Dr. Burr. So we knew that the testimonies were a little long, but you know, we can come and tell you all these things and share our experiences, but when you actually hear from the teachers and you actually hear from the students really what this program can do, it's very impactful. So we wanted to make sure that we shared that with you. We just want to tell you some of the barriers that we have identified, that we've, you know, obstacles that we've encountered, and we're still working through them. Probably one of the three main ones are what's presented here. The first one, just getting that buy-in from the students is difficult. You know, many of the students, they come, they want the CTE content only, and so it's really difficult to explain to them and really get them to appreciate and want this support that IET can give them, because they think it's going to be extra work or they're going to be pulled out of class. And so we're really working with the students and really trying to raise that awareness and let them know how this program can help them, as you just heard from those testimonials there. The second thing that we wanted to share is we're still developing resources that support the CTE content. So we do use Burlington English and the career courses, and those support our students and the curricular activities and content that CTE has. But you know, we're also creating our own. So we're breaking down the medical terminology with an image and slides and all those kind of things. So that's always something that we're continuously improving upon. And then the last one is developing that collaborative partnership with the teachers. So the CTE and the language teachers, developing that team teaching team really has been the main focus for Anel and I. We did strengths-based training as a division in 2020, right before the school closures. And that was key to really knowing our strengths and developing this team teaching team. And so we brought that when we were expanding IET and trying to create this really positive collaborative relationship where trust is built. What are your strengths? What are your co-teacher strengths? And how can you leverage those moving forward? And so really developing that team has been a main focus for Anel and I, and that's where you see some of those testimonials of the teachers coming out. But it's been a process. It does not happen overnight, but it's definitely worth investing in. These are some of our goals for next year. So some of the things that we've identified, and this list is just going to get longer. As I mentioned, we're in the CalPro IET implementation clinic for a second time right now. And every time we come out, we're like, we want to do this, we want to try this. But these are some of the ones that we're definitely going to focus on for next year, is really focusing on that workforce preparation focus. So integrating that more and more into our classes and embedding that. We want to do partners with the San Diego Workforce Partnership and you know, just use the resources that they already have and integrate it into our courses even more. We also want to develop assessments, formative assessments to prepare for those precision exams. So we don't want students to take the precision exam and then realize they didn't pass. So what can we do before that? What steps can we take before that to make sure that they are being prepared for success on those exams? And one way we're going to do that is to prepare those assessments, but also collaborate with industry partners to really hone in on those competencies that are needed for each industry. And so we want to hear from them what is needed so that we can tailor our courses towards that. And then the last goal for next year is to further develop our strategies to differentiate instruction for language support. So, you know, how can we do this even stronger for next year? So this is where we would like to move forward with our program. And like Dr. Burke said, if we ever see you at any conference or any network meeting, we're more than happy to collaborate with you on any efforts moving forward. We'd like to thank you on behalf of Dr. Burke and Nell and I for allowing us to present today and some of the materials that we have learned. And please feel free to contact us at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana and Anel. Great presentation. We love the testimonials. It really brings it to life, you know, about what is happening in your agency. And it sounds like you've done a great job. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself or put your question in the chat. I'll look at the chat to see. And they're asking for slides. Dana, would you mind sharing the slides and I'll send them out? Would that be okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
No,
yeah, so we have COAAPs is a question. That was sort of my question too, Judy asked. So how do the COAAPs relate to what you just told us? How do they integrate into this system that you've described?
definitely. Well, we're doing the healthcare worker COAAP right now with all the medical courses. So that really aligns well with what they need to learn in their course. So that is very, very helpful. And we did soft skills as well. Of course, that's applicable to all CTE courses. And so really there are great COAAPs out there that align with these CTE courses. And so we're further developing our COAAPs so that we really can have that seamless, you know, alignment with what they're already learning.
And that sounds great, Dana, but can you tell us where they're taught? In which of these courses are the COAAPs taught and assessed?
Sure. So we, for our medical classes, so it's medical terminology, the administrative assistant and clinical, and the billing and coding. We do the healthcare.
So you're co-teaching with an ESL teacher in those courses and the COAAP is taught during that time?
Correct.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. That's great. Judy, does that answer your question? We'll hear from her. Wonderful.
Dana, do you teach the COAAPs to all of the students or only the ESL students?
That's something that we're a bump that we've kind of, not a bump, but just a lesson learned, I would say. We feel like it's applicable to all the students, especially when you're able to align the COAAP to what they're already learning in the course. So the path that we would like to progress towards even more is to teach them to all of the students in the course.
And so, Dana, that makes so much sense for a number of reasons. You said you've aligned the single set of learning objectives, so they should be totally integral. But also because I think our California Department of Education is hoping to, in the future, involve ABE and ASE students in this. So it behooves you to go ahead and do that. They're not the native speakers of English won't be able to get credit for having passed the assessments, but the instruction is great. And any English learner, no matter what level of CASAS testing they achieve, can count towards payment points. So that's a very great thing for you to be doing. And I think this has been reiterated on pretty much everyone we speak to, that our native speakers in English want this support too. So you're just in line with what we've heard from everyone. So that's terrific that you're going towards that goal. Thank you. Any other questions? Either unmute yourself or put them in the chat. Barb and Portia and all of our program specialists, I know you're thrilled to have heard this presentation. Anything you want to say?
I'm just so impressed with everything that Sweetwater is doing, the scope of the programs, the coordination, the collaboration with outside agencies. It's really exciting to watch, and I'm so happy that you were able to come and present at this meeting.
Thanks,
I think
Portia.
your is a large part of your success, and it shows not only with your teachers but your students as well. There's a definite connection to the community and the desire to make better citizens. So it's really fulfilling the need.
And I especially appreciate, again, the no barriers and the fact that Dr. Burke said that, you know, if they want to take the training, you're going to support them in doing that. And I think research has shown in all other IBEST type programs that when the student has the focus of learning a job, they rapidly improve their English skills. So it behooves us to do it, teach English in the context of this training, because that's a very big motivating factor in actually learning the language and learning it quickly. So that's a great thing. Leticia has a question. How do you acquire primary language support materials? I assume associated to medical terminology and all of those CTE topics.
Well, as I mentioned, we do use Burlington English. So our instructors, our language instructors really like the scenarios that Burlington English presents, especially, you know, in the medical. Martha Reyes, who you heard, our IET instructor, really appreciates those. USA Learns also has a medical course that we've used as well. So that's another resource that we've used. But a lot of it is just our ESL teachers teaching them how to really differentiate the instruction, how to really break down what is the content in the CTE course. I mentioned chunking out the reading, using those strategies, those teaching strategies to not make it so overwhelming for those language students. So any type of strategy that you can use, you know, providing a lot of visuals. So a lot of it, as I mentioned, this is kind of one of the things that we're continuously improving upon, our teacher created. And so that collaboration time, that planning time, that's where those are created. That's where they're able to come together and identify the greatest need and then create resources around that, if they're provided or not.
And Dana and Anel, one of your slides said that all of your CT classes, and there were at least 10 I saw on the list, I think, are supported with English support. So is that happening in a co-teaching manner that ESL teachers are going in, or is that a lab situation? Can you tell us more about that?
It's a combination of co-teaching and alternative teaching based on the demand of the class. So we have, for example, cafeteria assistant. We find that the IT instructor spends most of the time in the classroom doing co-teaching with our CT instructor. So based on the demand and the need of the students.
Okay, so they're available to be there. And if they're not in the alternative teaching or alternate teaching, where is that happening? And is that in a lab with many different students from different CTE classes, or?
We're sticking basically on their industry. So a teacher has an additional classroom or IT instructor to pull the students out. For example, at San Isidro, we have a medical lab. And so sometimes the IT instructors in the CT classroom with the CT instructor co-teaching. Other times she has her in her own classroom, the IT classroom, or in the lab, reinforcing the terminology or reinforcing the language to support the students. Now, we have for every site, we have one IT instructor. So these classes are taught at multiple sites or 4 different sites. And so that's where the collaboration comes in with our IT instructors to learn, and also CT teachers, what does your curriculum look like? Where are we? So our curriculums are aligned by industry so that everybody has a sense of what they should be teaching. Of course, they're going to have their own teaching techniques, but how do we front load this information to our IT instructor for them to have this information beforehand so that they can be better prepared to teach? And that's where that collaboration time comes in, where we have an hour and a half on Wednesday evenings as a whole group, and then divided by industry. And then on Wednesdays, they also have breakout sessions where IT and CT instructors get to meet.
So how many CTE courses would one IET teacher be supporting?
It depends on the site. For example, at San Isidro Adult School, we have 5 different medical courses, 4 medical courses, I'm sorry. And then we have another CT course, which is computer applications. So Dana and I connect during the professional development during the first weeks of August with instructors, and we kind of like see what the schedule looks like. And that's where we don't create the schedule. We give the instructors the flexibility to say, CT and IT, how are we going to merge together, whether it's co-teaching or alternative teaching? And the schedule's not set in stone. However, those are the hours they're saying, I'm available for this course, I'm available for that course. And depending on the demand, what industry is looking for at that moment, the teacher gives some flexibility, the IET instructor to the CTE teacher.
Well, I want to commend your leadership, because making it flexible like that and allowing the teachers to work it out to fit the needs of the students in the classes just sounds incredible. So we have a couple of questions. Do your ESL IET students pay CTE tuition?
No.
So how does that work?
So with the pandemic, we moved away from any registration fees. If there's any cost at all, maybe let's say for medical, it would be the cost of their scrubs and their cost of their testing for certifications. Precision exams is paid by Perkins. So we really try not to make that an impediment for the students, especially with the pandemic. We're finding that many individuals lost jobs. I think 30% of those jobs that were lost will not come back. So we have individuals that are coming to us to look for new job skills. And so through the following school year, we'll not be doing any registration fees for any student whatsoever.
So not only English learners, but all students don't have to pay.
All
fees.
students,
That's
students.
Amazing.
Yes, it is. It's great.
And how are you paying for that administratively? Do you know?
Well, for CTE, really, we used to have registration fees, but we're in a position right now where we have a budget where we can't rely on. But this was a choice that our director made, that we weren't going to make that a barrier for anyone that would want to take an ESL course or an academic course or a CT course.
That's great. Okay, and one more question. What is your most popular CTE pathway?
Our most medical pathway, popular CT is right now medical.
Medical.
We're in the South Bay. Medical was one of those industries that was in demand prior to the pandemic, and it continues to be in demand, followed by building and constructions, and the third, drones.
Drones, wow. Well, that is so exciting. And of course, medical is needed. And also just want to remind everyone that we had Neil Kelly on maybe January or February meeting. He was talking about these new grant monies to support English learners in pursuing medical certificates. So perhaps that's where some of your money can come from in the future, Dana and Anel, and for all of you to consider adopting the Sweetwater model, and especially in the medical career, since we know that is going to be supported financially by the federal government very soon. And question for drones, is it building drones or flying drones or other?
Flying drones. We have an introduction to drones, and then we have the unmanned safety, which is how to fly the drone. And then we have a thermography drone, which is an imaging drone. So those are three different courses that we have for drones. And again, IT is supported in that as well. And so we're also collaborating with the Chula Vista Police Department, which is employing a lot of drone operators. Mm-hmm. And we actually have a success story in our drone program of a student that came in and took the drone program and was able to get hired for a huge organization where he's now making a great income, and comes to us for industry advisory and talks about how he came through adult education. So again, continue to have that collaboration with students that leave us, right? So moving forward, it'll be very interesting now to bring in students that are going out from receiving IET support out into the workforce or onto higher education and sharing their success stories.
And I hope they're not only sharing their success with the board or the advisory group, but also with the students as a recruiting factor. Maybe videos of those people would be terrific shoot too. I'm sure you're already doing that. We have a question. How did you find an instructor for drone certification?
Yes, well, we had our prior resource teacher for CTE was a computer applications information technology industry. And she was certified. She took a summer, she became certified and just loved the drones. And so that's how it was her idea, her dream to come up with a drone program. And so that's how we got started with drones.
Well, and what a great role model that is, because I would guess that that's very needed in all police. I was going to ask you where people are being employed. It sounds like there's lots of opportunity for employment. So maybe that's one area that a lot of our adult schools and community colleges can be thinking about expanding. in that area and getting people good paying jobs. That's great.
Yes, and if I may add, it crosses industries.
It what?
Photography, culinary, it crosses industries.
Oh,
It's not just-
crosses.
Mhm. So
Culinary.
there's building and construction, security. Drones is one of the most sought out things right now. And there's many people that come to take drone classes because sometimes they want to do their own business with drones, or they want to go into work for an organization where drone is needed. So it's a very fascinating industry, one to learn and one that keeps evolving so fast.
That's incredible. And can you tell me how it attaches to culinary? I can't imagine, unless showing people what the person is
Yes.
cooking. Is that how it is?
And when we think of industries, we have to think, like, we think of culinary, we just think of chef and we think of restaurant, right? But culinary expands to events like weddings and celebrations, right? And so you can have, now you find a lot of photographers that are using drones for events, such as weddings where there's catering events. And so with our culinary program, we always think of that also bridging the drones. So we're trying to cross discipline with industries to be able to support our students more that are trying to become entrepreneurs. Yes, but there's drones just overlaps industries.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much. Any last questions for Anel and Dana?
Yes, you mentioned that the Perkins pays for the tuition, or the students aren't charged. And I didn't quite catch what you said about paying for teachers, administration. How do you do that? With what grant money?
Well, our director, if he is here, he could definitely expand on that, but I believe it's through our CAAP funds.
Yes, and Perkins, we don't pay teachers out of Perkins. We pay curriculum, we pay equipment, there's certain lines that we go through the budget, and at this moment we're not paying salaries out of Perkins. It's just basically curriculum and equipment and professional development trainings.
That's great. Anything else?
Anel, can you
Yes.
tell them about your VR welding program?
Oh yes, that's a very exciting course that we're going to launch off fall 2022. It's it's actually augmented virtual reality welding. And so this is like a pre-introduction to welding, where a student will take the virtual instruction welding, and it's like playing a video game. And so it's helping students make those precision welding, and it gives the students an opportunity to learn more about welding. And so we're going to have that in the morning class, and in the evening we're going to actually have welding where you see the sparks happening. So this will be an introduction for students just to get the main basics of welding. And again, it's like playing a video game, so students can monitor their progress or see where they have to improve, so that when they do go out into the spark welding course, they're a lot more prepared.
And I just want to add something real quick onto that. Our instructor for welding is participating in our IET CalPro implementation clinic, because we want him to get an awareness for what IET is and the support that he will have to him, or the students will have in his class. And so we want him to understand the components and how it is and how it works. And so we're already getting him trained up in that.
Yes, and Dana and I, when we found out that our new instructor was going to be hired, he wasn't even on his first day when we were bringing him into the IET clinic. That's how adamant and supportive we are about IET. Let's break them in with IET to begin with.
Right. And I just wanted to ask, that virtual reality course, can that be done remotely for welding? I was thinking.
No, that's a misconception, that a lot of people think that you can do this from home, but there's equipment. So there's headgear.
Oh, of course.
And the equipment. Yes. So when students hear that, we always are making that clarity that this is, in classroom, and there's equipment that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody goes to the CCAE conference that's coming up in May, there's going to be a vendor there from Miller that's going to do presentations with that too. So that's a great way to get exposed to it too and see what it is.
Thank you, Anel. One question, Ryan asks, what is the average ratio of ESL students to native English speakers in any given career pathway?
Definitely varies depending on the career pathway, of course, right? So we found that our computer applications courses, we're not really seeing a big need in those courses per se, but really the medical, I would say, especially in the medical terminology, that entry class, that prerequisite for the higher classes, especially down in San Ysidro from Martha, who you just heard from, anywhere from 40% of the class would be identifying as a language learner.
Yes, and followed by a nutritional cafeteria assistant, where these are students that are coming in and they just want to learn some skills to maybe go work for a district in the cafeteria as a cafeteria assistant. And we find that almost 100% of the students are ESL students and need IET support.
Oh, so Portia, you have a comment. Why don't you go ahead and mention your comment, Portia?
So Nella and Dana were talking about, we had the conversation about offering EL Civics co-ops to all students, not just to the ESL students. And, for WIOA, only the ESL students can earn payment points from co-ops, but all students can earn immigrant integration outcomes, the I3 outcomes, from completing co-ops. So for COAAP, if you offer these co-ops to your CTE students, ABE, HSE, those will show up under I3. So it's an outcome. It's not a payment point, but the more outcomes you have, the better your program looks.
So it behooves you to go ahead, since you're doing the instruction, to assess everyone and then put in put all the data into TE, and then you'll get payment points for the ESL students or English learners and outcomes for everyone. That's great. Thank you, Portia, for bringing that up. Any last questions? This has been a lively discussion. So appreciate your presentation. It's so great to hear, and that you'll be a great role model for other agencies. And thank you so much for offering to talk to everyone, because it would be so great if people followed your model. And thank you again. I have up here on the slides the emails of our wonderful presenters, Ryan Burke, Dana Orozco, and Anel Martinez. Your presentation was stellar, and thank you so very much. Let me just go here to our thank you, just to say that for those of you who are ready to leave and don't need information about the IELCE report, our next meeting again is May 25th, 2022, and I hope to see you then. If you would like to stay online for the some Q&A about the IELCE report, which is due on the 30th, I'd be happy to do that with you. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to our great presenters. Thank you, Portia. Thank you, Program Specialist, for supporting as well. And appreciate you all being here. Good luck with your April 30th deadlines. We hope to see you at the CASA Summer Institute and at the next EL Civics Network meeting on May 25th. Anybody here for staying for IELCE report Q&A? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Lori. This is Carrie.
Okay.
I have been putting the report in the format on the CASAS website, and I put in the different integration of the IET components, and I added the programs. When I'm just nervous about hitting submit, because when I go back to, how it has like page 1 through 4, you can go back and next, I don't see it there anymore.
Did you say, well, two things.
No, so I saved it. I just now, I've been thinking I need to redo it again, and I did that. But then I look at, when I get to the end, print a copy of the report, and I see that they're in there.
Oh, you do. So, but you're saying when you go back, you don't see it. So
yeah, it looks like it erased when I go back and forth between the pages, but I just went right now just to double check. And when I get to page 4, where I either submit as complete or print copy of the report, I thought, well, let me just check there. So I clicked print copy of report, and it's all in there.
Great. So then I wouldn't worry about it. I don't know if that's just a function of your computer, as long as you see it, and I would save it as a PDF. I don't know if you can also print it if you wish to, but please save it as a PDF so you have it electronically, and that you could send it to us electronically if need be for some reason. But if you see it all there, and if you see all what I might, well, I guess you can't go back, so you can't do that now. in the future, you might want to expand all the boxes so that we can see everything, just in case this were to happen that we didn't have it. But if you're seeing it in the print, it should all be there. So
Yeah,
go ahead
okay.
and hit submit. If for some reason you need to get back in there because it's not there, we can reopen it for you and take care of it that way. But I just want to be sure you were in Chrome when you did this, right? You used the Chrome platform, and at each section there was a save button at the bottom.
And I did save,
You'd
yes.
save, and it turned green or whatever, another color to show you it had saved. I mean, it looked okay. Well, then you should be fine. Maybe it's just the back button function. I don't know about that, but if you see it, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Just got
Thank you
nervous.
for taking such care in doing it, Carrie.
I
And I'm
appreciate
sorry
it.
if it made you nervous.
Okay.
Okay,
Take
great.
care.
You too. Anybody else? Feel free to unmute yourself. It's hard to do it in text, I think, in chat, but I will open the chat just to see. The recording for this meeting will be on the CASAS website, and it'll also be sent to the network members. Let's see, I think that's all I see. And is anybody else? I've got 13 people left. Anybody want to unmute themselves and ask a question about the IELCE report? I hope that means you've done it and you're doing great.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Where on the CASAS website do we find the slides for the meetings?
Okay, so let me show you. And they won't be there for a day or so, but let me show you where it'll be. So hold on, I have to go back.
Lori, you're not sharing. I mean, you're sharing your PowerPoint.
Okay, but I'm not there yet. So wait, let me get it there. Okay, I need to do a new share, and first I need to find the link. Thank you. Okay, let me get there. Give me a sec. There we go, new share. Okay, so now you should see the CASAS homepage. And then where you'll find it is, let me just move things around here, is on the EL Civics support channel right here. Over on the right, so EL Civics support channel. And then you'll see all the meetings for the last few months. Let's see if we can find it. It should have its own section. Let's scroll down. There we go. Recent California EL Civics Network meetings. So we have January, February, March, and we will have April, and December. And we will have April in the next day or so, as soon as we can get it up there. Does that answer your question?
A bit, yes. I missed the first couple slides of your presentation, so that's why I was asking for the slides. So
yeah, so you can find it here, and then I will send it to the network. Yeah, are you on my network list?
Yes.
Okay, then you'll receive it in the next 24 hours. You'll receive the slides.
Okay, thank you, Lori.
You're welcome. Anyone else with questions about the IELCE report or anything else? Got a few people left. Maybe it's just the program specialists who are supporting me, and thank you so much for doing that. Okay, I'm going to. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So we'll see you next month. And thank you. If you have any questions, again, email me at lbhoward@casas.org. You can see my address here. If you have questions for Portia, her address there. And we'll see you next month on May 25th for the next EL Civics Network meeting. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Did you stop the recording?